So we'll start for the day. In the last class, do you remember what we are discussing? We're discussing about algorithms and flowcharts. So algorithm is, we saw what is the definition of algorithm and how to write algorithm for small problems. Finding the sum of two numbers and finding the factorial of a given number, like that. Then the corresponding flowchart also. Flowchart is a pictographical or diagrammatic representation of the algorithm. So some people prefer to see the solution in a flowchart format. Some people will be happy to read the solution in plain English and minimal mathematical notations. In that time we go for algorithm. Both are used to represent the solution of a problem in a non-programmatic language, normally in English or in a diagrammatic manner. Okay. In this topic, in this class, we are going to learn the first topic in second unit, which we skipped that time. We directly went to conditional statements and branching statements. Then we skipped this topic because this did not carry any lab significance. Lab programs. This is more of a theoretical topic only. From exam point of view, this will be useful. So what we are going to do in this topic is slightly go into depth of input and output functions in C. Slightly going in depth, especially printf and scanf function. We'll be going into little more details formally. So previously we have seen practically how to use printf and scanf functions. Scanf for taking input from the user, printf for displaying it. Here we will learn how to format our output or input more specifically. That's what we are going to see here. Okay. Now input output function, as per our textbook we are following, there are two broad categories: unformatted input output and formatted input output. So some example for unformatted input output functions are getChar, putChar. So first we will briefly see unformatted input output. Then we will go to formatted input output functions, printf and scanf. Okay. So all these things, the functions, the purpose is to get input from the user or display input output to the user. Okay, provide output of your program or get input into your program. The purpose of these functions. So the first function, this belongs to unformatted input category. See getChar and putChar. Input and putChar is for output, getChar is for input. Similarly, scanf is for input, printf is for output. So getChar function is used for reading one character from the user, just one character. Okay. Uh, the functionality is similar to printf, scanf. What scanf we can use for different data types. We can use for character, integer, floating point number, double type number, or even a string. Scanf we can use, but getChar is used only for specifically for character. So this is a specialization of scanf function for character alone. And why this is called an unformatted input function? Because in scanf we know the first input to the function is a format. We provide a format string in double quotes %d to indicate that two integers are expected. We give %d in double quotes. So we specify the format of the input that we are expecting. But in getChar we don't specify anything. The input to the getChar function is nil, the empty input, or we don't pass any input to this function. Okay. And what we get as an output is a character. So this function will wait for the user to enter some data, and whatever is entered by the user, that will be stored into the variable we are providing. So this is the typical way of using getChar function. You declare a character variable, then C equal to getChar. So getChar function will wait until user enters a character. So even if user is entering multiple characters or a string, it will read only one character, the first character, and it will return back. And that will be stored in the variable C. Okay. Syntax wise, it is different from scanf, because in scanf we put within the bracket we specify where to store the number or data entered by the user using ampersand a comma ampersand b, etc. Okay. So here is a full example, simple example, uh, declaring a variable and prompting the user enter the character, then calling the function getChar, and this function will wait until user enters the data. Once user press enter key, this function will process that data and get the character store into this variable, and finally this is displayed back. A simple function we are using here. So I'll just execute that here. Here not much complex concepts to understand, just this functionality, what each of these functions are going to do, and we'll see one simple example for this. So I enter a character, say A. So that character is stored in C, and finally I am printing character percentage C is entered, comma C. So C, variable C, this is variable C which has stored the character A value that will be inserted here, and the final string will be displayed like this. Character A is entered. Okay. Any doubt is there? We'll just stop. You can stop and ask. Otherwise, since these are relatively simpler topics, I will not be spending much time on each of these. Pretty understandable. We have seen much more complex programs than this in the lab and in other topics. Okay. Then there are some additional functions related to characters. One is alpha, another is digit, is alpha and is digit. From the names of the functions, it is clear that what it is going to do. Okay. So is alpha, can anyone tell what it might be doing? Is alpha. Then is digit. So input to this function will be one character. Am I audible? Hello? Am I audible? Okay. So whenever there is a internet connectivity problem, you hold on for 5 to 7 minutes. If the connection, I am not able to get the connection back, I will inform you in WhatsApp. So probably we will postpone the class for some other time. Now I am actually connected from my smartphone through my hotspot from my smartphone. But the speed may be lower, so there may be glitches in the sound or video. Once my broadband connection gets back, I will switch over to that. So if there is any issue, you just let me know. Okay. So some functions related to character data. Uh, One is alpha and another is digit. Input to both of these functions are characters, character variables or character constant. Then is alpha will check whether the character is an alphabet. So a character can be an alphabet, can be a digit or a symbol, right? Generally, so alphabet, digit or a symbol like hash, dollar, etc. So if I pass a variable with value stored in it is a, is alpha will return the value true. For true, it will normally return 1. Okay. And if character A is passed into is digit, it will return false. But if I pass character variable 9 or a constant character constant 9 in single quotes, this function will return true. So is alpha is used for checking a character is alphabet or not. This is used for checking whether a character is digit or not. Okay. So there is another way to check ourselves is to compare the ASCII value of a character. Every character has a corresponding number representation. We call it as the ASCII value. So based on the ASCII value also we can get to know whether a character is alphabet or not. Okay. So we'll see a program for this. Here, a little slightly complex way I have written it. What I'm doing is I'm getting a character from the user as usual, like previous program. I'm getting a character from the user. Then I'm calling function isAlpha. But calling isAlpha is within an if condition. Within an if condition, I'm calling ifAlpha, and the return value I'm comparing with 0. So if the return value is not equal to 0, that means it is not a character. Okay, if alpha is true, uh, okay, there is, I think logically is alpha is, okay, logically there is a mistake, and the character is a letter. I think it should not be like that. Let me take the actual program. Yeah, return not is equal to 0 or not is equal to 0. I'm checking it's correct only. So I think I'll rather write it this way. So I'll call outside the function. I'll call outside rather than putting it in the if statement. So is alpha. I'm getting a character from the user. Store it in variable C. I'm passing into is alpha. This character variable has stored the value entered by the user. And if is alpha is true, that means it is a character. If alpha is true, it is a character. So I can what I'm doing is return not is equal to 0. Not is equal to 0 means I got a non-zero value. If this is true, that means I got a non-zero value. So is alpha will typically return 1 or a non-zero value to indicate if the character we pass into it is a character. So to represent true, sometimes the compiler may return 1 or a non-zero value to indicate that it is an alphabet. So how I am doing it is, I'll check return not is equal to 0. In case of not a character, it is going to return 0 every time. What we are passing is not a character, it is going to return 0. So on a safer side, what I am doing, if return not is equal to 0, that means it is a non-zero value. Non-zero value is true. So that means this function return true. That means what we have passed is an alphabet. Alphabet or is a letter. Generally I can say letter rather than using letter is the proper word. Entered character is a letter. Is alpha returns.
Sir, I didn't get. Can you explain it again?
We get a character. Is alpha will return true if whatever we are passing is a character. Okay. Is alpha will return true. But we don't have a value like true. True is represented using a non-zero value. True is represented using a non-zero value. So some compilers will return 1 to indicate that it is a to true. Some compilers will may not return 1. Instead of that, it will return a non-zero value. Non-zero value will typically be the ASCII value of this, whatever character we stored in this. Okay. So we'll just see what it is returning. Simply without going into that if and all, we are directly going to print what is returned. So I'll print RET. We'll put a slash n also. So this compiler, whether it is returning 1 for true, and we'll check it. So I am entering a character. So I get 1. So this compiler is returning 1 for true. See, the character A I entered, it is stored in C. Then I call this function and pass the value of C, pass the variable C. So this C has the value A now. A is an alphabet or it's a letter. It belongs to alphabet. Since it is a letter, this function will return true. True here it is returned using value 1. So that's why I am getting value 1. So if I enter another character, so I get a non-zero value this time. It's 2. Okay. So for A it returned, when I entered A it returned 1. When I entered X it returned 2. I entered D it returned 2. I enter so there is a pattern. If I enter uppercase it is returning 1. If I am entering lowercase it is returning 2. But in both case it is a non-zero value. Now if I enter say a digit, it is returning 0. Another digit, it is returning 0. Is alpha returns 0 for a digit. But for alphabet letters, it is returning a non-zero value. In case of uppercase, this is returning 1. In case of lowercase letter, this is returning 2. So we just want to know whether it is an alphabet, it belongs to alphabets also only. Like whether it is a letter. We are not bothered about uppercase or lowercase. So in that case, my condition is if return not is equal to 0. If return is equal to 0, it is a digit. So if return not is equal to 0, I say it is a character. Okay. Then in else if is digit, I am passing again variable c to is digit function. Is digit will return true if it is a digit. So if it is not 0, that means true is returned. That time we will print it is a digit. If is digit returns 0, it is not a digit. Is digit return a non-zero value, then it is a digit. We are going to print the entered character is a digit. If it is not character, letter, not digit, then we generally say it is not an alphanumeric. It is not alphanumeric. It's not alphabet, neither alphabet nor numeric. Is it clear? So I'll enter a entered character is a letter. I'll enter B maybe 5. Entered character is a digit. The returned value is 0 and we say entered character is a digit. If I return anything else, say a symbol, percentage, it is not alphanumeric. So neither alphabet nor digit. That's what we are printing with this logic. Is it clear? Who was asked?
Sir, if you're entering a
Hmm.
digit, it
Hmm.
gives false, that is 0. So why is that? Because you said if we enter a digit, then it should give a non-zero value, right?
No, no. If we are entering, so is alpha will return 0. Is alpha we are checking with this function. For this function, digit will give 0. Okay. Now is digit function, digit will give true, non-zero value. I am asking is digit. So true means what? What I am asking is correct. Yes. So in that case, is digit. If the input is a digit, is alpha will be return 0, but is digit will return non-zero. Different function. You see, this we will focus only this part. We'll comment all this, comment out all this. Okay, we don't only this is there, and I am calling only is alpha. Is digit function is not involved only. So I enter alpha. I get a non-zero value. Alphabet I am entering. I am getting a non-zero value. But whenever I enter a digit, I am going to get a 0 value. because it represents false. What I am checking is alpha. Now if I use is digit here, the behavior will reverse. For an input alphabet, is digit will give me 0. For an input digit, is digit will give me non-zero. Is it clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So based on the question, this is a question actually. Function name itself is a question. Is alphabet. So if we pass alphabet, the answer is yes or true. Now if I ask is digit and I pass an alphabet, the return is false. Reply is false. If I pass an alphabet to is digit function, the reply is false. So that means 0. False is always represented using 0, but true will be true is represented using a non-zero value. Typically 1, but it need not be always 1, like that. Now based on the return value, I am just printing a corresponding message. The ended message is ended character is a letter or not. Okay. Here I am asking is alpha. So if it is a non-zero value returned, I print is a letter. Then I check is digit. The same input I am passing. So if it is a digit, it will return true. That means non-zero value. Then again I will print it as digit. This else if ladder, if this is executed, we are not going to come into this part only. Okay, only one of this block or this block or this block, only one of this will be executed from the entire else if ladder. That also you should remember. Okay. We have till 3:20, right? I think we will not be able to finish it in this class. I thought of finishing it, but connection problem. So, so this kind of is alpha, is digit, etc. They are coming from a header file called ctype.h. Sometimes in the new recent compiler, if you don't include this also, it will come from stdlib.h or stdio.h indirectly. So, but specifically these functions is alpha, is digit, etc. belongs to ctype.h. C stands for character, so character type, ctype.h. Okay, then there are other, these are, we generally call it as utility functions to find out some some utility there of some utility for us. So another function is lower, to check whether a character is lower or not. Is lower function can be used. So the if it is a lower case, we are going to get a answer as true, and if what we are passing is uppercase, we are going to get the answer as false. That means 0. Okay. So in case for uppercase is passed, we are going to get 0. Lowercase, it will be a non-zero value. Similarly, there is another function called toUpper. TOUpper, what it will do is, if you provide a lowercase letter, it will convert it into uppercase. TOUpper. Now there is another function toLower. So it is the meaning of the function is explicit. If you pass a lowercase uppercase letter, it will convert it into lower and return that. So if you have a character, it will check, since we use this, my logic will check if the character ended is a lowercase one. If it is lowercase, the corresponding uppercase will be printed. So getChar I am using here doesn't take any parameter, but it returns me a value. And the converse of that is a function putChar. PutChar takes a character and display it on the screen. PutChar takes a character and display it on the screen. So yeah, here I think I missed this missed this slide. So here putChar function is like this. I get a character, I print it using putChar. Instead of using printf I am using for displaying this message, and putChar is used for displaying the character I got for the user back. So I will execute this program, then putChar back function will be clear. So converse of getChar is putChar, but putChar take a single character as the input, either as a character variable or a character constant. So I enter A, returns A, and character ended is, and then putchar is called, and putchar will display the character. So anyway, so in this case I am passing a variable. Instead of that I can pass constant also, a character constant. Character constant is a single symbol within single quotes. So if I execute this, every time I will get whatever I enter, every time I will get A as the output, because it's a constant. Every time the same value will be printed. So normally we will be passing a variable here. Now in that two lower and two upper function, this is what is happening. I get a character, I pass it into is lower. So instead of calling is lower here, I am directly calling it here. I could have done it this way, is lower, and get the return value in a variable int ret equal to, and then ret not equal to true, not equal to 0, not equal to 0. I could have done this. Ret not equal to 0. That means ret is a non-zero value. That means my character is a lowercase character. I will convert it into uppercase and print it. How I convert it into uppercase? I call to upper function and pass the variable, and as a return value I get the uppercase corresponding uppercase letter. So if lowercase x is entered or lowercase d is entered, I will get uppercase. So if this is returning true, that means it is a lowercase number, lowercase character. I am converting it into uppercase. If return not is equal to 0 is false, return not is equal to 0 is false means the value in ret variable is 0 only. It is 0 only. That means this function returned false. Is lower false means whatever entered character, it is uppercase. The entered character is uppercase, then is lower will give me false. In that case, we will convert it into lowercase. So if the character entered by the user is uppercase, it will be converted into lowercase. If the character entered is lowercase, it will be converted into uppercase. This is what this program is doing. Okay, I did not put a semicolon here. So the error shown is near rest line. Whenever you miss a semicolon, the error will be shown in the next line. So if you see the error message, line number 10 will show. So what is the output? So this is else part. I am just indicating, showing to indicate that I must enter else block. So if the character is A, I get lowercase. Uppercase A, I get the lowercase letter. If the character is lowercase, I get the corresponding uppercase letter. I mean if part, there I convert it into uppercase and display the uppercase letter. Any doubt in this program? Get char, is lower, to upper, to lower, all are simple functions only. One input, only one character variable as the input or a character constant as the input. Return value is true or false. True will be normally a non-zero value and false will always be a zero value. Any question? Okay, if it is not there, I assume it is clear. We'll go to next topic. The only thing you need to notice here is, see, I can nest function calls, I can nest like this. Putchar, within that I am calling to lower and passing the variable. Now how this will be executed? The sequence of execution is first to lower will be called. So whenever we nest like this, do nesting like this, first the inner function will be called and the value returned by that will be passed to the outer function. So this is going to return me true or false, or a number, 0 or non-zero value. That will be passed into putchar. Okay, that is what going to happen. That will putchar will simply display that. So this way of function call also, like this is one another way of doing. Either I can call like this, call it, store the return value in a variable, then use that return value to compare. Or what I can do is, I can directly take this call and put it here. So instead of storing it in a different separate variable, the value first this function will be called, and whatever value returned will come here. Either it can be a 0 or a non-zero. So it will compare with this value. That will happen during the execution time. So first the function will be called and the return value will be placed in the if condition. That will be compared against the number in the other side, and based on that outcome this block or this block will be executed. These are two different ways of doing it. Either do it this way or directly call it this way here. Okay, just to be familiarized with these two different ways of putting a function code or putting a statement. Okay. Mm. Yeah, that much only about the unformatted input functions. Mainly we studied getChar and putChar. For getting input, one character getChar, and getting displaying one character output putChar. There are other functions also unformatted for strings, getters, putters, etc. But not coming as the part of the syllabus. Probably you can read additionally. But we are just limiting to syllabus only, since this is more of a theoretical interest. Formatted input function. So we after this we are moving on to formatted input and formatted output functions. So our major classification, unformatted IO, is we have just finished the minimal syllabus part. We have finished. Then formatted input and formatted output function. We have already studied this, but little bit details we will see.